canal, and this was from yesterday. There's a video online that you can look at to see how to follow the steps. We also did this in Scratch, though, where you make an x and an x step variable, and then you draw a circle that at the location of x and y, and then x constantly changes. In this case, it changes by 4 every time it goes through the loop. But if it ever reaches the end of the screen, it changes. It tells x step to change its direction. So if it hits the edge of the screen, it just bounces back. So that's all good. That's all well and dandy. Let's use the keyboard today. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a paddle as well. So let's go down here maybe after our draw, fill, oval, and we'll draw a box. Draw, fill, box. And for now, I'll give it a position. I'll try to give it a position kind of towards the bottom of the screen. So in the Y direction, I'll say maybe 20. And I'll make it, okay, so it starts at 300 in the X. So the next X I want to give it is 450. I want it to go over 150 pixels, give or take. If it starts at 20 in the Y, I maybe want it to go up 20 pixels. And I'll just pick a color blue. Okay, so that's a good looking paddle for me. I'm going to try to move that thing. Okay. So I only want to move it back and forth. And so I'm going to make this a variable. But I got to give it a smart name, so I'm going to call it var paddle1 x, capital X. And I'll let it equal 300. And I'll put it here. Paddle1x. So that should not change my program in any way. Okay? But my goal is to change paddle1x whenever someone touches the keyboard. Okay? Paddle1x colon equals paddle. Here's a trick in Turing. If you want something to add to itself, you can write plus equals 5, something there. Okay? Look at that.
It's expanding.
Yes. The problem is I did not put paddle1x here. Right? Plus 150. These two should be related to one another. So now the paddle moves, which is fine. Okay? But I actually want this code in here if I press the letter D on the keyboard. So I got to go into my help section. And I'm going to look up input.keydown. Input.keydown. That's what I'm going to look up. Let's read that. Actually, let's just steal their code. Input.keydown procedure allows a program to read which keys are being pressed on the keyboard. So let's copy this code. Go to input.keydown and find that code and copy it. Okay? That is the command. So I'm going to go here. I have to be careful where I copy it. The reason being, so I copy it here, right? But I need this code to go inside my loop somewhere. The variable, this crazy variable, it says var chars, they called it, is a variable type array char of Boolean. That's a keyboard variable that just like basically gets the state of all the buttons in the keyboard and returns true or false for each key if it's being pressed. Okay, but the rest of the code needs to go in my loop because I need to be constantly checking. So I'm just going to run this code and see if I press the letter T, what happens. You can see it's writing on the screen the T key is pressed. Okay. So that code is actually registering a click for me, which is nice. So all I really have to do here, instead of putting this statement there, is to put this code here. Now whenever I press the T key, it should move my paddle 5. It does work. So what are all the different keyboard buttons? Like D is probably obviously the letter D. If I go here and type in under index keyboard, it'll probably tell me what all the different keyboard buttons are. Keyboard. Yeah, it shows you all the different things you can type. Like if you want to type in left arrow, you would have to press inside of there, key left arrow. It's just like a built-in. Actually, I want key right arrow, right? Great. So if I write key right arrow, now it'll run if I press the right arrow on my keyboard. I actually like it better with the ASWD. So I'm a gamer, you know. I don't use the keyboard because I'm a right-handed gamer. So I'm going to press the letter D. Okay? So that's how you get the keyboard working. Try to get a paddle in there today. I'll show you how to get it to collide, or to check if it collides, maybe later on today. But try to get that keyboard moving back, or that paddle moving back and forth, and get the ball bouncing. So we have something interactive right now, which is good. Once we build in some sort of way to detect if they're colliding, then we're halfway to making a cool project, right? So work on that today. We'll be working on our Pong game all week. I'll post